What's up, all my dope creators of all kinds? My name is Derek. I'm an artist from the state of Illinois, and today I'm going to be competing in my first drawing challenge here on YouTube from an artist named Luvami Art. I'm really sorry if I pronounced your name wrong, incorrectly. I've been following her for quite a while now, and she draws these amazing, beautiful pieces of fantasy art, and she mostly draws in black and white, mostly with pencil, and I highly recommend that you go check out her work. She's a really great artist. I will leave a link to her account in the description below, and it's called the Elemental Challenge. Basically what the challenge is that you create a spirit of some kind that holds one of the four elements, basically. So of course those elements are air, earth, fire, and water. And today I chose the element of fire since I'm a Sagittarius and my element is fire, so why not? Plus fire is just cooler. So since I like to work with animals and nature, I decided to look up a bunch of animals that are somewhat associated with the element of fire. So I narrowed it down to 4 choices, those being I got it written down here, red salamander, fox, ram/bighorn sheep, and a fire ant, of course. So how I'm gonna decide to choose these animals are, I got all the names written. I got all the animals written down on these little sheets of paper, and I'm going to be putting them in this giant top hat / sorting hat. So here we go. Mix it all around. And now I'm just gonna sort of switch them around and see which one I choose. This one seems promising. Okay. Oh, I don't need this anymore. Alright. Let's see what we got. A red salamander. Alright, that should be pretty cool. So, let's get into it. I started off by doing some salamander sketches because I've never actually drawn salamanders before. And as I continued to think of the more fire-like elements that I would incorporate with the animal, I thought, how cool would it be if the black spots on the salamander were like crusty magma, like lava magma, and as it gets closer to the tail would be more like liquid lava. And I wanted to give that impression of the salamander setting flames to anywhere that I walked, or like its tail would be setting flames to anywhere I walked. I thought that would be really, really cool. So I spent about an hour or so, or almost to an hour, thinking of ideas of like how I wanted the salamander to be positioned. And I'm not gonna lie to you, this is probably my least favorite part of creating something, because I really just want to get to the final piece and just start having fun. But I know at the same time that if I don't start sketching out my ideas, I'm probably going to end up with a final piece that I'm not too happy with. Sometimes you just gotta suffer through something that you just don't like in order to get to something that you truly enjoy. Okay, so real talk though, I actually took a few days off from creating any artwork because I'm kind of a procrastinator, but also this weekend was just a little bit more busy than I expected it to be. But I'm back in the basement, I'm gonna continue on, and I'm gonna persevere. Alright, we got the sketching done, and now it's time to paint. So I had to cut out the footage of me painting the salamander yellow because whenever I move my hand to the left side of the camera, the light would shine so brightly that you could barely see anything. But just to summarize what I actually did, I laid down a thin layer of water and then I painted a layer of, what color was it? Cadmium yellow on the water. So I pretty much just did the wet on wet technique. And just to summarize what colors I actually used, I used a mix of alizarin crimson, cadmium yellow, sap green to mix with the red to get like a sort of reddish brown. And I also used a bit of orange and a bit of black too to get some of the darker colors on some of the rock. And painting all these separate pieces of magma is kind of the reason why I don't really paint a lot of reptiles all together, is because just to meticulously paint scales, like each individual scale, I literally have no patience to do that whatsoever. Now that doesn't mean I don't want to paint reptiles at all. I just think that if there was like a faster way to actually paint scales, I would love to know that. But until then, I'm just kind of like staying away from reptiles for a while. If I had to point out one negative thing about this piece, is that I kind of wish I made the tail look more like liquid lava, because that was my plan from the beginning, is to make it look like liquid lava, but it just kind of looks more like solid rock in a way. I kind of wish I would have just made it look more liquidy, like a thick liquid, rather than sort of like a, I don't know, like a solid rock in a way. And with that, it was time to move on to the inking. I used a Pigma Micron 005 sized pen to do most of the outlines. My technique with inking is that the darker the area, the thicker the line, and the lighter the area, the thinner the line. The reason why I ink last is because it sort of brings the illustration like out of the paper, if you know what I mean. Like, it just kind of makes it a little bit more three-dimensional than two-dimensional, and I believe that it kind of pops it out a little bit more. Overall, I really had a fun time with this painting and with this elemental challenge. I highly recommend, if you guys are into like spirits or elemental creatures or fantasy creatures, I highly recommend that you guys take on this challenge. Like I said before, I will leave a link to Luvami Art's Instagram page, so you can go there and you can check out the rules. And the deadline for this challenge is September 30th, so you have about another week and a half to get something started. I'm really looking forward to all the different artworks that are going to be portrayed with all the 4 different elements. This is honestly kind of like taking Avatar: The Last Airbender and turning them into like fantasy creatures or like different elemental spirits. I think this is such a unique and wickedly awesome challenge. that, we are finally done with this. This honestly took me a lot longer than I had intended to, but I honestly couldn't be happier with some of the results. Although I will say, like I said before, the tail doesn't really look like molten lava. It kind of looks more like a petrified rock, to be honest. But other than that, I love the flames from the hands and the feet, and especially the tail, even though it seems like I copied a Charmander a little bit. Other than that, I love the effect of the lava around the body. I love the little pieces of like charred magma to give the effects of the spots. Overall, I think this gives off a really cool effect for the element of fire. And with that said, just let me put in my signature. And with that said, guys, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe and share around with your friends in case you want them to see this too. And until next time, stay creative, my dudes.